Congresswoman Tlaib?
Fox News. I don't talk to Fox News.
At a rally in your district, people were chanting "Death to America." Do you condemn?
I do not talk to Fox News.
But do you condemn chants of "Death to America"?
I don't talk to people that use racist tropes.
Why can't you just say whether or not you condemn people chanting "Death to America"? Why are you afraid to talk to Fox?
Fox News is not listen, using racist tropes towards my community is what Fox News is about, and I don't talk to Fox News.
Is "Death to America" racist?
To Fox News.
Is chanting "Death to America" racist?
I'm talking about your guys' racist tropes. You know, you guys know exactly what you do. I know you're Islamophobic, but you guys got to go deal with it on your own self. You're not going to use me.
Members of your community are chanting "Death to America." We would think you would have a response on that.
Right. Yeah.
Plus, you said, when confronted after you should have been expelled from Congress when you said from the river to the sea, you said it didn't mean what we thought it meant. Then you have that same guy that's from your community saying that it's for the annihilation of Jews. So which is it, Congresswoman? And I just got to ask the people of Congress, you guys were so ready to get rid of Santos, but you can't get rid of a Congresswoman that has this type of stuff, espousing the same rhetoric that this guy espoused there in her community. I just think it's cowardice.
Put it this way, she was first, but she's not the last. She was the first one to speak out against Israel. Now most of the Democratic Party does. And keep in mind, in my view, she became a congresswoman to represent Palestinian cause. And that's all she really cares about. They didn't really want her to go visit Tel Aviv. They told her to go over to Gaza when she did decide to visit. And she has not condemned the comments. She could do it in a statement. You don't have to give it to Hillary Vaughn if you don't want, if you find Fox so offensive. Also, Governor Whitmer. Where's Governor Whitmer coming out saying, oh, yeah, this does not represent the people of Michigan? I got some emails yesterday saying, we don't agree with this. You know, don't worry about whether I vote for a Democrat or Republican. This is not representing Michigan. But in that area in Dearborn, the President of the United States should have condemned those statements. You might have the right to say it, but it doesn't mean I don't find it abhorrent in America to do that.
The president and the mayor of Dearborn said that this is unacceptable. So he has spoken out against these comments. It's just, this just feels like such a scary time when you think about Americans, people in a state like Michigan saying "Death to America." There was this 18-year-old in Idaho that was just arrested by the FBI because he pledged allegiance to ISIS, and he came up with this what literally looked like an actionable terror threat that where he was going to kill people at a church in his hometown.
No, I know. And it is scary to hear "Death to America," "Death to Israel." Brian was talking yesterday to Carrie Kupek Urban, who said that essentially that language is protected. It's protected speech. It is offensive. And here's the thing about Tlaib. Essentially, Tlaib has, remember when she was sworn in, as all members of Congress, you are sworn in to defend the United States of America. And if you cannot defend the United States of America, hey, "Death to America," are you for that? And she would not respond. It's just like, come on, that's a no-brainer. She could have said, look, I've already pledged to defend the United States, so it's the other guy's freedom of speech, but I don't agree with it.
She can't respond because she agrees. And the reason why I say that she agrees, because it's her community. She said some of the same similar things to the river to the sea. She tries to twist the words and act like she doesn't. Meanwhile, she's on the Financial Services Committee, which has oversight of Treasury when there is sanctions being brought on different countries. I don't think she should be on there. She definitely should not be oversight, getting information from the FBI. If she cannot be firm on her stances when it comes to defending and protecting this country, I don't understand why she's on these committees, let alone in Congress.
And moving beyond her, I mean, if you think about what President Biden is doing with his Israel policy, clearly he is criticizing Benjamin Netanyahu now every other day because he is trying to appeal to these very voters who are chanting "Death to America."
And as we move on, just a quick note. I just was watching local Israeli TV yesterday. You go on YouTube and find out. Benjamin Netanyahu, no one's pushing back against his policies. They don't like what he's doing with certain areas, but not the way he's doing the war against Hamas is not upsetting the people of Israel. So when you condemn him, you're condemning the people of Israel and what they want. And that is not to be massacred on October 7th. And this is what they get. The people, the Palestinian people, 85% support Hamas. Hamas is living underground, using them as human shields. This is a Hamas problem. It's not a Netanyahu problem. And we used to understand that.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.